Yep. So on this one, somebody want to read the problem for us? No takers? Okay, go ahead, Monica.
Enable math teacher is giving you a test worth 150 points. There are 46 questions on the test. Some are worth 3 points each, while rest are worth 5 points each. How many of each type of questions are there on the test?
So you see, I have a typo in there, right? All the rest are with, but anyway. Okay, so what can we go ahead and label in our boxes here? Total. Where's it going to go? Top right corner. So what totals do we have in our problem?
150.
150
46.
and 46. Okay. If you circle them, I suggest that you circle whatever the label is, whatever it's talking about the total. So 150 is a total, and over here on this side, what is that 150 totaling? Points. So that's what's going to go here. Then what's our other total? 46. And what is it talking about? Questions. So then we have what's the rest of what else are we talking about besides points and questions?
How many each question is worth?
So how many each question is worth? So the type of question, right? So what's my two types of questions?
3 points and 5 points.
3 points and 5 points. So 3 point and 5 point questions. Now, what variables might we want to use for these? Can we use a number to represent a variable? No. So this is kind of like that octane problem, or the other, wasn't there another one, the percentage of investment problem, right? So the best thing to do is X and Y, because there's not really another better letter to use for those. So which one of these is going to have something additional on it? The points? Are we going to multiply 3 times X to get the total number of points? Or are we going to multiply 3 times X to get the total number of questions? Okay. So, well, if it's talking about 3 points for each question, right, then the points means that 3 is the points. Here's the other hint. The one with a bigger total is probably going to be the one that's got some multiplication going on, right? The one with the smaller total is not going to have as much multiplication going on, right? So this is, so 3x and 5y. We're going to put our plus signs and our equal signs on there. So we've got our equations. I'm going to go ahead and rewrite them so I have room to work. And if I don't have any number in front of my letters, what number do I put?
1.
1. And this was a common mistake I was seeing on the quiz, that they were doing all the work right, but then they forgot this 1. So when they added these, it was just a 5 and not a 6 or whatever. Okay, so okay, so does anything eliminate right away? Is that what we wanted to use, or do we want to use substitution? Okay. They're both in standard form, so elimination is going to be your easy way. If you prefer substitution, you're more than welcome to do substitution, but you would have to rearrange it in order to do substitution. Okay. So what are we going to multiply the top one by? 1. Okay, and the bottom one by 3. Okay, am I going to have a sign change so that something cancels out? If I multiply this over here, it's going to be 3x plus 5y equals 150, because multiplying by 1 doesn't change anything, right? Okay, 3 times 1 is 3x, 3 times 1 is 3y, and 3 times 46. Anybody know that one?
I thought you had to change one to a negative.
That's what, nobody said that, so I was going to work it out and see when somebody realized. So which one do I need to make negative?
-1.
The -1, okay? So that would mean all of my signs on this one would change. Okay, so now I'm still at, so all my multiplying by 3 stayed the same, right? 3 times 1 is 3. 3 times 1 again is 3. What about 3 times 46?
138.
138. Okay. So now this is just a big addition problem. I'm going to add all of these like terms together. So 3x plus 3y, 3x plus, sorry, negative 3x plus 3x is what? Cancels out. We've got negative 5y plus 3y. It's negative 2y. And then negative 150 plus, right? Add that plus sign if you need to see it. So negative 150 plus negative 12. Okay. And then what are we going to do? Divide by negative 2. And y equals 6. So what is the y representing? A 5-point problem. So we have 6 5-point problems. So then how do I figure out how many 3-point problems I have? Yep, go back and substitute this 6 in for my y up here. So I'm going to use this one because it's easier, right? So x plus y equals 46. So x plus 6 equals 46. So what does that make x? 40. And 40 what? 43-point problems or questions. Okay. So once you substitute, if you hurry, okay? Once you substitute, then make sure at that step of substitution that you only have whatever letter there. It should be the same letter. If you substitute wrong, you will still end up with an X and a Y, and it should be a red flag. Ding, ding, ding. I did something wrong. Okay, I substituted in for the wrong one. Okay. So down here for this first elimination problem, it automatically cancels because we're going to make it one big addition problem, and the 3x and the negative 3x automatically cancel. And then we're just going to add my y's together. These are all those y tiles like I just showed you in that other example, right? So 5y's plus 1y is 6y. 8 minus 2 is 6. Okay, here's the mistake that I kept seeing on lots of papers. 6 divided by 6 is not 0. 6 divided by 6 is 1. Okay, subtracting, we're canceling out 0 pairs. Okay, if you're canceling by addition and subtraction, then it's 0. If you're canceling by division, it's 1. You can't divide by something to get 0 unless you have a 0 on top. So then once we know that y equals 1, we're going to substitute that into one of our equations. It doesn't matter which one. Some of y'all's paper, I use the first one. Some of y'all's paper, I use the second one to solve. It doesn't matter. You should have still got 1 on for your x. Again, 3 divided by 3 is 1, not 0. So 1 was your solution there. For problem number 5, okay, you had to switch, just like we did for that problem that we just did, for the word problems, right? So 1x, we're going to put the 1 up here because nothing canceled right away. Okay, you only have to do this if nothing cancels. We're going to put the 2 at the bottom so we get the same thing, but one of them has to change signs. Make sure. I tend to do the bottom one if I need it to be minus because it's easier for me to think of it as subtraction. So 2x minus 2x, that cancels. 1y minus 4y is negative 3y, and 4 minus 10 is negative 6. So then I've got negative 3y equals negative 6, and I divided by negative 3 on both sides, and I got y equals 2. They should have both been negative or both been positive, whichever way that depends on which one you multiplied there. Okay, but either way, it should have been a positive 2. I think the most common mistake that I saw on that one when they got this far was maybe the sign was wrong. Their sign didn't change here and they ended up with a 5y and then they ended up with a fraction. That was the other mistake I was seeing. So make sure that you multiply everything. Then replace the y in one of your equations. It doesn't matter. I used the second equation because I wouldn't have to divide in the end. So, and then when I got to this point, some papers I might have forgot to subtract 4 on because I just felt like it was obvious to know that 1 plus 4 equals 5. And so anyway, so there's my answer for that one. All right, now look on the back. I did not grade the back on anybody's because I spent the last 2 nights until about 1 o'clock in the morning when I started falling asleep grading, because I was writing everything out for you guys so y'all would have all of the steps written. So it took me longer to grade. So I didn't get to the back. So I'll just be looking at the front as far as your grade goes when I get it back and get it put in the grade book. Okay, and it's based on how you tried to solve it and the steps that you showed. So if you did great and you did it all right and whatever, then of course it's 100. Okay, if that you tried to show your work and do the problems and whatever, then it's a scale from 85 for that you got most of them. You know, you were on the right track. You might have not got the actual answer correct, but you were on the right track with them. And you had tried all of them, to a 70 where that maybe you got half of them done, or you know, you did 2 of them really good and you did the other 2 you were not, you know, didn't do so well on or whatever, to a 60 to a 50. Okay, so if you took a test, the lowest grade you will get on there is a 50. Okay, so if you missed everything and you didn't show any work or try at all or whatever, then it's probably going to be a 50. So that's how that I'm grading this one. So right here, on the back, this was asking you to draw a diagram. This is what was on that foldable from the day before when we were graphing. The very first 4 things that we drew on there, examples of what one solution was. Okay, and so one solution is any 2 lines that cross or intersect at one point. Okay, they have different slopes. Okay, if your 2 lines have different slopes, you will have a solution. Okay, if they have different slopes, you will get a solution. If there are no solution, then I should have seen two parallel lines drawn. Okay, and in the description, it should say parallel lines or something about same slope, different y-intercept, that they never intersect. Okay, but parallel lines was a key term there that I was looking for. Okay, over here, intersect at one point would have also worked. For infinite solutions, they're the same line. Okay, same line, same slope, same y-intercept. Collinear was the vocabulary word that we talked about. Okay? They intersect an infinite number of times because they're the same line. That's why there's infinite solutions. Okay? Then this next one said solve by elimination. And if you eliminate straight down, everything cancels for your x's and your y's, and you're left with a 0 on one side. But over here on the other side, 12 plus 10 is 22. That is not true. It is a lie. And if it's a lie, it is no solution. Now, down at the bottom part, I just wanted to see if you could use what you know about making equations to come up with two equations on your own. You didn't have to solve these. It was just a lead in into the word problems that we're doing now. Okay, so a variable. So the first variable, looking at my picture, I need something to represent pi's. Okay, so notice that I had the hint down here says what letter will you use for the first variable and what will it represent. You couldn't just put a letter there because that doesn't tell me anything. You also have to tell me what it represents. Okay, so P for pi's or X for pi's. I like, if I know what it is, just like in our word problems, I like to use the letter so I know when I solve it what I was talking about. X and Y doesn't always tell me what I was talking about. Okay. Variable number 2, C for cakes or Y for cakes. Either way, but you had to tell me what it was that you were talking about. Then over here, setup, okay, is just writing what you see here in these picture problems as algebraic problems. So in this first one, there were 2 pi's, so 2p, and 3 cakes, and the total was 41.25. Then there were 3 pies and 1 cake, and the total was 29.50. So, so you should have all of these things. Most of them, at least on the front side, was already written for you. The stuff on the back, now you know what the answer should have been back here and why. And so the last thing that we need to talk about is your assignment that I'm going to come around and bring you. Okay. And notice at the top up here on these, it's your choice. Okay. It says pick 5 out of the 8 to solve. Okay. So you're only solving 5 of them. Solving 5 out of 8. Okay, it doesn't have to be the first at 5. It doesn't have to be number 5. It just has to be 5 of these 8 problems you have to actually finish working out and solve. Okay, so I highlighted thinking it would be easier to see, but I don't think it is. So then you have to set up all 8 of them. So you have to set up all of them. Okay, but you only have to finish working out 5 of them. Okay, you can work together and get it done. You will need a separate piece of paper to get it all wrote out to be able to set it up and stuff, because there is not room on here to set them up. Okay, there's just the word problems on this page. You can try to use the back, but that's not a lot of work for what you're going to need either. Weird. I had too much video left to watch in here. Okay, so these are your homework over the weekend, I guess. You have 5 minutes to work on them and start asking questions.